we are hearing that the ICC, the International Criminal Court, is on the verge of issuing arrest warrants to Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. There are talks going on with Mohammed bin Salman and other officials in Riyadh on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum meeting there. And I guess it was Friday that the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, said that they were prepared to begin the offensive in Rafah unless Hamas returns the hostages and agrees to a peace deal.
Paul wants to get in here, but I got to ask a dumb question. If I'm in northern Gaza and they blow me out, I go down to middle Gaza. If I'm in middle Gaza and they blow me out, I go down to lower Gaza. Gaza's on the border with Egypt. If they blow people out of Rafah, where do they go?
Well, and this is why the talks are going on with the Egyptians right now, who have not accepted Palestinian refugees, right? And a corollary to this, which I think people forget, is that during the war in Syria, Turkey accepted large numbers of refugees from that war. A similar agreement has not been forthcoming with Egypt. They don't want to get stuck with a lot of refugees, and they have their own security concerns to be mindful of. But yes, there's nowhere for the refugees to go. There's nowhere for the people of Gaza to go, and Israelis are ramping up the pressure. And we have to wonder if what's going on the sidelines of these meetings in Riyadh is that the Gulf Arab states are doing exactly the same thing.
So, Tina, we're more than 6 months into this operation here by the Israelis. You know, unspeakable levels of destruction of Gaza. In hindsight, is there any indication that Hamas miscalculated here terribly in their October 7th attack?
Well, it's hard to see what they've gained apart from putting the Palestinians back on the agenda. Remember that, just 6 months ago, really, people were talking about this impending deal, normalization between Israel and Saudi and others that would have paved the way for a lot of regional economic integration. Gulf states still want that to happen, but a Palestinian state was not part of the discussion. And then, we've entered this kind of hellscape of the offensive in Gaza, the Houthi rebels, the recent exchange, kind of unprecedented exchange of missile fire. My question, to myself, is this the geopolitical bottom? Like, can it get worse? Or is Hamas decided that it's going to accept Oslo kind of terms? That is kind of mind-blowing, but you really have to get to the bottom before you can consider.
Tina, I think you're the most qualified person I know, maybe Leslie Vinjamuri at Chatham House as well. But Tina Fordham, you are more qualified than anyone I know to talk about the college protests in America, wrapped over to 1968 and all the work I've done on that with Guy Sormont of Paris and others. Yeah. How do you treat the protests in elite schools in America within the filter that you have of diplomacy and the history of protest?
It is quite a spectacle. First of all, I'm a Columbia alum, and I'm on the advisory board for SIPA, the School of International and Public Affairs, which is also caught up in these, although it's mainly the college. I don't think this is 1968, right? I think that this is identity politics in the United States that has now incorporated a foreign policy angle. I think it's incredibly difficult for the university administrations to balance their commitment to free speech and to the community that is a university with their Title VI obligations. They've got to protect students, and the whole spectacle seems to me, and I sit in London, where I have for a long time, to be a culmination of the culture wars, and in some ways the TikTokification of very complex issues.